Hey guys, this is Mo for PhoneFight, and this is part 1 of the phone fight between the Mytouch 4G and the HTC HD7. Both of them released newly to T-Mobile, both of them flagships in their respective platforms. The Mytouch 4G is T-Mobile's flagship Android device, and the HTC HD7 is T-Mobile's flagship Windows Phone 7 device. Both of these phones are made by HTC. The Mytouch 4G is running on T-Mobile's new 4G network, the HSPA Plus network, while the HD7 is running on T-Mobile's 3G network. Let's start off from the front. Both of them, even though these are, you could tell right off the bat that the HD7 is a monster next to the Mytouch 4G. Both of them run beautifully. Let's start from the top. We have a speaker on both of them. T-Mobile logo on the HD7, HTC logo. We have a 4.3-inch capacitive LCD screen. The old generation LCD screen, if you look closely, you could even see the little dots for the multi-touch gestures. This is the LCD screen also used on the HD2. We have 3 capacitive buttons: the search button, home button, and back button, as mandated by the new Windows Phone 7 software recommendations. We have on both of these, we have this little trim. This looks like a speaker. I'm going to say it's not a speaker just from my usage. I never heard sound come out of it. There are some people that say it is a speaker. I'm really not sure about that. But it does make it look symmetrical. It does make it look real nice. It does have a chrome little accent going around the edges. Gives it a nice sleek look. The Mytouch 4G, just turned it on. Let me turn it back off. The Mytouch 4G from the top has the speaker for phone calls. We have a front-facing camera, the main differentiating feature between these two phones. We have the Mytouch logo right over here. 3.8-inch second generation LCD screen, also known as the Super LCD. We have down here on the bottom physical buttons, which you don't see too much, but it is nice to have. The Genius button, back button, menu button, and home button. These are mandated by Android. However, the Genius button is a touch that the Mytouch has been adding to their newer lines. We have a trackpad on the bottom for scrolling, editing text, also wakes up the screen. And we also have a nice chrome trim going around the edges. Let's turn both of these phones onto their backs. We have a speaker right over here, 5-megapixel autofocus camera, and dual LED flash. What separates the HD7 is a nice little kickstand that pops up. Goes great with the 4.3-inch screen. Gives you a little entertainment center, a personal entertainment center for yourself. HTC's logo right here, kind of in a chrome trim. We have a HD7 little bezel right here, and a Windows Phone logo. This is like a plastic battery cover, snaps off real easily. This is a 1230 milliamp battery inside. Also has no expandable memory. It's 16 gigabyte available internal memory. It is a SD card, but it's hidden, so you can't remove it or anything. Let's go back to the Mytouch. Same thing. You could kind of tell both of these phones are made by HTC. You have the speaker right over here. You have the 5-megapixel autofocus camera and a single LED right over here. Hard battery cover. It's a metal battery cover. Makes the phone feel very solid. We have a T-Mobile logo. Kind of got this nice design going on the back, and a HTC logo right over here. Battery cover is extremely hard to take off. You got to take my word on this one. 1400 milliamp battery inside. 8 gigabyte memory card comes with it. It's also got 4 gigabyte internal storage comes built in. However, that storage is mainly reserved for software and software updates, so it's not really storage for the user to use. Let's go around the edges here. We have a let's compare them side by side. Kind of hard to hold both of them at the same time. We have a volume up-down rocker on the Mytouch 4G. Nothing on this side at all for the HD7. We have 3 prongs for desk dock and car dock. Micro USB port right over here. We go on the bottom of both of these phones. We have a microphone on both of them. However, the HD7 has the 3.5mm headphone jack. Also the micro USB port, both on the bottom. Camera shutter button on the Mytouch 4G, nothing else going along the edge. On the HD7, also a camera shutter button and a volume up-down rocker, also a one-piece. On the top of each of these phones, we have a lock/power button, and a 3.5mm headphone jack goes on the Mytouch 4G, nothing else on the HD7. holding the phone side by side. It's kind of funny, when I looked up the specs on both of these phones, it says that they measure in height the same thing, 4.80 inches. It might actually be true. It does look like the HD7 sticks out just a little bit. Let's check that out. I mean, it's almost too close to call. I mean, they're all, yeah, they are right there. I have them both flush right now against the table, and they're both at the same height, which is kind of funny just because of how the HD7 took advantage of its space. I'm going to power both of them on right now. I want to power them on at the same time just so you can get an idea of the startup time on both of these phones. They are both extremely fast. You're going to see the Mytouch might be a little bit faster, but they are both fast. They both have 1 GHz Snapdragon processors. However, the Mytouch 4G does have a second generation, and there it is, it's powered on. The Mytouch 4G does have a second generation Snapdragon processor, while the HTC HD7 has a first generation Snapdragon processor, the same one that was used in the HD2. It's got a power on, still going. The Mytouch 4G has been done, and now the HD7 is loaded up and everything. So the Mytouch 4G is definitely, it's among the fastest that I have seen on a cell phone, let alone a smartphone. So when we get to the main pages here, this is your typical Android layout. You have your apps on the front, you have your different screens you could scroll to. Since this is running a Android or a HTC Sense overlay, it does have the little extra features that you can't get with regular Android. Some people love it, some people hate it. It all really comes down to personal taste. The Windows Phone 7 has this little tile first page screen, and the only other screen that you could get to, when you scroll this way, this kind of takes you into your, as the Android would call it, your app tray. On the Android, you pop this up, this little arrow. On the Mytouch 4G, it shows all your apps, while on the HD7 and all Windows Phone devices, the Windows Phone 7s, you just swipe this way and it brings you to all your apps. As far as customizing goes, there's definitely more options with the Mytouch 4G. You press and hold anywhere on an empty spot. It brings up your little options you could do. Shortcut, you could add a widget, a folder, or you could change the wallpaper. You go into the wallpaper, you could change the home screen and the lock screen. Definitely more customizable, whereas the Windows Phone, you can press and hold a tile, move it around, change its spot. If you swipe down this way, and let's go into settings. Where is settings? Oh, this is all in alphabetical order. I keep forgetting that. If you go into settings and then you go to let's find display, theme. Let's go to theme. You can change the tile color. So let's say you're feeling like you want a lime color, and you could change it to a light color. So you can have the background where it's light, and now we have lime colored tiles. These tiles, by the way, are live tiles. As you could see right here, that's changing around. That number 6 right there means that we have 6 updates. The Mytouch 4G, however, to counter that, has live wallpapers, which is, if we go into wallpapers right here real quick, home, you could go into live wallpapers. Let's pick anything. Let's set that wallpaper, and as you see, this is a live wallpaper that is actually moving. So they both do have kind of live wallpaper features. Definitely though, the Mytouch 4G is way more customizable, but you have to keep in mind that the HTC HD7 is running Windows Phone 7 software, which is in its developing stages. It's kind of in its new stages, whereas the Android has obviously developed over the years. Definitely a big difference. That's why I say we're comparing apples and oranges. However, I just did want to give you a general idea. Coming up in part 2, I'm going to go over the phone apps, the messaging apps, and the browser in both of these phones. We're going to compare them side by side. I'm going to let you know which one is easier to use, which one has more options for you to use. Stay tuned, subscribe please, so you could catch part 2. This is Mo for PhoneFight. We'll see you real soon.